Welcome to FPL Selection. Today we'll review the 10 matches from Game Week 8 to see which players caught the eye and have been added to the watch list. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks. So first up was Forest 0, Chelsea 3. Comfortable win in the end for Chelsea, but it could have been very different if Forest had taken their chances earlier in the game. They missed some real sitters there, and yeah, it could have been a real different story if they'd have gone 1 or 2 in front. Reece James had a goal and assist in the game to go along with a clean sheet. That's 3 assists for the season now. He's also had back-to-back 90 minutes, 4 in a row now. Historically, whenever he's played, he's always tended to pick up assists and a few goals. But obviously, it's been a few years now since we've seen him sort of be able to start so consistently. If he stays fit, he will play. Chelsea have some great fixtures for the rest of the year, so could be a nice differential there at only 5% ownership. But if you want to be a bit safer, I think Chalobah is also a good shout. He started every game this season when available. He's had good numbers on the DEFCON. He's always a big threat at set pieces. And he's $1 million cheaper than Cucurella. So I think he'd be a nice way into the Chelsea defence. If you're looking for a Chelsea attacker for the good fixtures, I think Enzo's probably the best option now. Pedro just hasn't looked that threatening. He seems to prefer to drop deep and link the play. Whereas Enzo's sort of always making those runs into the box, looking to get on the end of things. He's had a goal this evening in the Champions League as well. I know it was a penalty, but he probably is on penalties when Palmer's out. So yeah, he's probably got a few more routes to points, and just think Pedro's just not really looked that threatening recently. From Forest, I think it's still wait and see with Dyche now coming in. Could be good news for their defenders. Potentially, you might see the DEFCONs go up and might be a few clean sheets for them. It might potentially affect Anderson as well. Do you think he's still going to play, but every match, but you're going to see more DEFCONs from him as well, potentially. So I think he's maybe still a pick. If you've got him, I'd keep him for now, maybe, but certainly wouldn't be buying new anyway. One to keep an eye on. And Brighton 2, Newcastle 1. Fairly even game overall. Brighton created the better of the chances and they took them when they came, and that's probably what gave them the edge in this one. Welbeck got his second brace in 3 games, and that's back-to-back 90 minutes for him now. He's always a good finisher when he is on the pitch. It's just staying fit is obviously the problem with him. Brighton have some decent fixtures up to Christmas, so might be a decent shout at 6.3, probably on penalties as well. So yeah, another nice potential differential there. Just a bit risky, obviously, with the injury history. Voltemada got himself another goal. That's 4 in 5 games for him. He's also got bonus in 3 of the 4 games he scored. So, his goals are definitely worth more than just the 4 points. Looks like he's the talisman for Newcastle at the moment. And I think he's going to continue starting, even if Visser comes back. Just while he's in such good form, he should still get the minutes. The Newcastle defence, still the second best in the league so far this season. Dan Burn continues to, start every game. He's picked up DEFCON in this one, even playing at left back, which looked like it might have sort of reduced his numbers. It's not ideal that he's having to play there, but he's still getting the minutes. He's hit the DEFCON. It's a very good defence with potential for clean sheets. So, yeah, just at this point now, we've got to just assume he's going to start every game until he doesn't. I think Pope's probably a safer bet longer term. But, you could potentially double up with the 2 of them. He's got a save point again in this one. That's 5 out of 8 games so far to go along with his 5 clean sheets. So I think he's clearly the best goalkeeper choice in the game at the moment in terms of value for money. And Burnley 2, Leeds 0. Leeds dominated the possession. They had 19 shots to Burnley's 4. But they were so wasteful with their chances, as well as Dubravka having a really good game for Burnley. He's without doubt the best bench keeper to own in the game at just 4 million. You could also argue now he's potentially worth rotating him for some of Burnley's better fixtures. He always seems to pick up a save point pretty much every week. They've got the chance of the odd clean sheet as they do, try to sit quite deep and defend. Another useful budget pick from Burnley could be Twanzebe. He's only 3.9 million. He started the last two. One to monitor. He's hit the DEFCON this week. And from what I understand, Ekdal was dropped for something outside of an injury or tactical issues. So potentially fallen out or something. So might see Twanzebe now be the first choice at centre back. Another interesting pick emerging from Burnley's Florentino in midfield. He started the last four. He's hit DEFCON every time. His points tally so far was 3, 4, 4, and 8. He's had an assist this week as well. I mean, if he can hit those 4 points every week at only 5 million, that's really, really good value. Potentially an 8th attacker if you want to play 3 strikers. First on your bench, you'd happily take 4 points, from a bench player. Yeah, seems like a nice budget option. Then from Leeds, I think the only one I'm sort of half interested in is Calvert-Lewin. Still potentially a good pick. He set up a great chance in the game for Bogle, should have scored, and he was very lively again. Got another 90 minutes under his belt. Some good fixtures coming up at just 5.5 million for anyone looking for a cheap striker. I don't think you're going to get much better for that price. And Palace 3, Bournemouth 3. That was an incredible game, this one. So many chances for both teams. And then it was Mateta's probably his easiest chance of the game right at the end there that could have won it for them. He had 10 shots in the game, 3.7 expected goals. It was 2.9 even if you take away the penalty. So it's just really high numbers. He's second only to Haaland for expected goals this season. He was definitely due a few after the last few weeks. He's their talisman on penalties. Palace have the highest expected goals for any team so far this season. So, yeah, I think he's got to be on most people's watch lists now, especially now he's got the points. That makes up for the ones he's missed out on the last few weeks. Munoz, another good score for him this week. 2 assists, DEFCON for the second week in a row. He's really starting to put the points on the board now. He's got so many ways to score points. He's basically a winger and he gets the defensive points. So might be worth paying the extra now for him over the other Palace defenders, especially when their fixtures turn in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I think could be a really nice pickup there. And for Bournemouth, Semenyo is still the number 1 pick, obviously. Yet another return this week. The interesting one was Krupi Jr. Started and scored twice. He's only 4.5 million. So if he can continue getting some minutes and that, in a good attacking side like Bournemouth, he could be the perfect 8th attacker. Sit on your bench most weeks, but there to, potentially pick you up a few points if needed. Then City 2, Everton 0. Relatively comfortable win for City here. Haaland being the difference again, as always. He could have had more in the game as well. He hit the bar and had another chance late on. I think he's as close as you can get to essential at the moment in the game. For my second City pick, I still think Reinders is the one to go for. He was subbed early in this one and only got 1 point. But he did set up a great chance for Doku, who should have scored. There's been a lot of ifs and buts with him in the last few weeks, but I think, patience, only 5.5 million. He's not like he's, taking up too much budget. He's a Man City midfielder that's playing most of the games. I think he's going to pick up the points. I think you'll see, a decent high average from him over a good chunk of games. So, yeah, I'd stay patient with him. And if you're looking for City new in a few weeks' time, I think, yeah, he's potentially going to be the second choice after Haaland. If you want a City defender, Donnarumma's probably the best bet at the moment, just because of all the rotation really in the back four. He's had 3 clean sheets in 5 since he got in the team. He is 5.7 million, but he could be a set and forget. If you think City are going to pick up plenty of clean sheets, which they're certainly capable of, he might just be one to get you 6 points every week. And for Everton, Ndiaye was the standout attacker once again. He was really lively. He hit the DEFCON. He laid on a sitter for Beto, he was just stretching to tap it in. But again, it looks like a real player in Ndiaye. He's on penalties as well. So I think he's just got a lot of ways to score points. And yeah, it looked good against a good team like Man City. And Sunderland 2, Wolves 0. Another result for Wolves that doesn't show, how the game really played out. They dominated the possession, they had the best chances in the game, but again, they just struggled to make it count when it mattered. Sunderland, again, continue to have a decent defensive record. That's 4 clean sheets in 8 games. You've got both Mukiele and Alderete now as 4.1 million budget options. They're both hitting the DEFCONs regularly. They've both had a 17-pointer this season. I think either one of those, is a nice bench option. It's, going to suit most people's squads, I would imagine. You've also got Roofs, who's up to 4.6 million now, but he's picking up decent points most weeks. So if you're tight for budget and need a cheap goalkeeper, I don't think you could do much worse than him. And then also Xhaka is a great budget midfielder, just 5 million. He's picking up DEFCONs most weeks. He actually hasn't scored less than 3 points in any game this season, which, is really, really good for that price. So if you're looking for, a first sub, or you just want someone cheap just to tick over for a long period of time, he'd be perfect for that. And I wouldn't go near any of the Wolves players at the moment. They're not scoring goals, they're not keeping clean sheets, they've got no one there really, showing any promise. So I think you're going to have to, just keep watching and see if anything changes. But for now, I would stay clear of them. And Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Another solid win for Arsenal, 1-0 with a set-piece goal. Fulham had a few half chances, but they just couldn't get anything decent on target, really. I think from a Fulham point of view, Anderson got injured and he's potentially out for a couple of weeks. So other than him, I don't really see any standout Fulham players at the moment. Whereas on the contrary, Arsenal probably have 5 or 6 good picks at least to choose from. Saka had a great game. He looks like he's back to his best now. Was unlucky not to get a return in the game, but he still managed to pick up 2 bonus points just with all the chances created and the dribbles made, along with hitting the DEFCON. He's just one of them that you stick him in and leave him in for most of the season, and he's going to tick over every week. I think Gyökeres also looks good. He's not been getting the returns, but he looks sharp. He's getting in the right places, and he definitely gets chances every game. So once he gets that first one to go in after, a few blanks, he'll go on a nice little run, I'd imagine. They got some decent fixtures, so I wouldn't write him off at this minute, especially with Saka being, back and fully fit. That's only going to give him more chances, you'd imagine. From the defence, Gabriel's obviously still the standout. Got the assist this week from the corner. 3 bonus. He was only 1 away from DEFCON. I think he's probably the best defender in the game at the moment. As a second option from Arsenal, Calafiori might also be worth a look. He's been getting really far forward most of Arsenal's games this season. He had a great goal disallowed in this one, just for a marginal offside. I think both he and Timber just look really excited and they're getting really far forward, and I think either one of those could be a nice double up along with Gabriel. And Spurs 1, Villa 2. Spurs will be disappointed to lose this, as they probably had the better chances in the game. Villa's 2 goals were both great long-range strikes, but other than that, they weren't really that threatening. I think neither team defensively look interesting. They've both got tough fixture runs to come. From an attacking point of view, I think Kudus and Simons, the ones getting the minutes for Spurs. But again, bad fixtures, so probably not worth looking at anytime soon. From a Villa point of view, Rodgers returned in his last 3 now, but he's quite expensive at 6.8. And Marlon looked lively again, but he's just got so many rivals for the minutes there. Don't think he's worth going for at the moment. I'd avoid both teams for now and just see how they look after a few more weeks. And Liverpool 1, United 2. Liverpool should have won this game with the chances they had. Gakpo, Isak and Salah all had great chances. Should have scored. United rode their luck. They carried a threat on the counter and they certainly had their own chances. But they just, they took the 2 that they came their way and were clinical. But probably a little bit of luck involved there. I think Gakpo looks like the Liverpool attacker to go for at the moment. He had 5 shots in the game. He hit the post 3 times. Missed a sitter near the end. He's getting the minutes. He's looking really greedy. He's, shooting a lot and he's getting into good positions. It's just the complete opposite of Salah at the moment. And for half the price, he's probably the one to go for, I'd say, at the moment. Ekatike looked really lively when he came on. I do think he's sort of been pushed out of the team a little bit quickly with Isak, starting quite a few of the games recently. He had a good start to the season, and is it potential that he's going to start a few games now? Isak's potentially picked up an injury in the Champions League game, so I think it's one to keep an eye on because he looked good at the start of the season, and like I say, he's been pushed out of the starting lineup a bit too soon in my eyes. We've seen that he can score a goal or two, so yeah, one to keep an eye on there, I think. For United, Cunha had a really good game. I think the two for fantasy to go for Fernandes and Bumo still. They both got returns in the game. Bumo's definitely a bigger goal threat, but because Fernandes does a lot of good things for the bonus metrics, he only ever needs one return and he gets all the bonus points. Amorim also confirmed he's still on penalties. So I think if you've got the budget, you go Fernandes over Mbumo, but Mbumo's certainly a good pick too. West Ham 0, Brentford 2. Horrible performance from West Ham. Brentford had so many chances and they should have won far more comfortably than just 2-0. West Ham had nothing at either end of the pitch, and I think they're a straight avoid at the moment. If you've got Bowen or Paquetá, maybe you could hold them, over the next few decent fixtures. They surely can't get any worse than they did in this game, but yeah, I certainly wouldn't be buying new at this point. Then from a Brentford point of view, Thiago's definitely the talisman for them. 5 goals for the season. He's getting good chances every week. He almost had another in this game that he finished really well, but it was ruled out for offside. The other player that caught the eye in this one was Damsgaard. He's a really nice player to watch. He didn't get any returns, but he looked very creative. He played some really nice passes. He's missed a few games this season. He's still getting up to speed. He had 10 assists last season as well, so might be an option in the coming weeks at 5.8 million. One to keep an eye on there. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.